This is my sister Rosa. She's 25. How long have you been married?
I have been married for 2 years in November.
What did you think that marriage would be like?
I think at first it's like you're kind of in like la la land and like so happy and in love and like, I mean, it's great when you're first married. I'm only not even 2 years into it. I'm already saying that, but no, I mean, I thought it was gonna be kind of easier than what it really is. Like, it's hard to live with someone every single day, and like we have a 9-month-old son, so like that added a whole nother element to it. But I mean, it's fun to me, and only difficult like day-to-day things, just like bickering, I think is more what makes it difficult.
What you said you have a 9-month-old son.
Yes.
So what are your like opinions on like child rearing? Like, what style of parenting do you have, and like what do you want to continue to have as he gets older?
I think a lot of like what we do is more, it's called like attachment parenting, where like, I mean, we breastfeed him and he sleeps in our bed, and just more like gentle parenting, I guess, as opposed to like letting him cry it out or like be more independent, I guess. He's still independent, but like I don't mind that he relies on me so much.
So do you believe in like spanking and disciplining like that?
I think when he gets older, right now he's only 9 months old, so he doesn't really understand. Like, if we were to spank him, he wouldn't like realize why he's getting spanked. But I think at the appropriate age, I mean, you kind of just have to figure out like what works for the child. Like for me, when I was a kid, spanking did not work, but having to stand still for a long time, like with my nose in a corner or something like that, like it just depends on the child. You have to figure out what works for each child.
Yeah. What are your opinions on cohabitation? So like living together before you're married.
I lived with my husband before we were married, but we were engaged, and we also like met and were married within 9 months of meeting each other. So I mean, we got engaged after 4 months of knowing each other, and after that I started living with him basically because my lease was up at my other house. But I mean, I was raised in a Christian home where like that was not something that you do, but I feel like we were engaged and like the commitment was there, and like to us, we had already like decided like this, we're gonna be together forever, like this is it for us. So I don't know, at that point I think it's okay. I think just living with each other like when you're like 18 or, you know, like not super serious about each other, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, but we were just at the place in our lives where we were already committed. So
This is my mom, Melissa. So what are your thoughts and opinions on cohabitation?
Living together before you're married. Living together before you're married, I would say I'm really not for that. I mean, I raised my kids as Christians, so I don't think that's a great thing to do. But it's, I guess, really up to the couple and how they feel about that subject.
So like if they weren't raised like Christian, like you don't really like care if someone else does it?
Yeah, I wouldn't judge somebody else for doing it. I'm just saying that I would rather not do that myself.
Yeah. Okay. As far as like raising children goes, what kind of parenting style do you think you had when raising your kids? Like, what kind of discipline did you do? Things like that.
We were very much more of the attachment parenting. Our kids all slept with us. We did co-sleeping, and I nursed the babies, and we tried to keep them out of daycare as much as possible. So we would work separate shifts so they didn't have to go to daycare. Discipline-wise, I think we were pretty strict parents. We had a lot of rules, but we also let our kids have their own minds to make decisions as came along, like once they were older, of tattoos and dyeing their hair or anything like that. You know, we weren't so strict that we wouldn't let them do anything like that.
This is my sister Allie. She's 27. How long have you been married?
For 8 years.
8 years. And you have 3 kids?
Yes.
How old are they?
They are almost 5, 2, and 3 months.
Okay, so what are your thoughts and opinions on like raising children? Like, what's your style of parenting?
Probably, I don't know, kind of more like what people consider like old school parenting. Like, they do have like a lot of rules and things like that, and they do get in trouble. We're not like, I don't know, I just try and prepare them for the realities of life, I guess, even though they're only so young now.
Yeah, I feel like that's good. What are your thoughts on marriage? Like, what did you expect it to be like, and what, like, are your thoughts now after being married for so long?
It was pretty much what I expected it to be like, I guess. I don't know, my husband and I are kind of laid back, so we really don't fight a whole lot. Of course, we argue sometimes. We're different people. We don't see eye to eye on everything. But we just try and keep perspective of the big picture and not let the little things get to us.
What are your thoughts and opinions on cohabitation?
Well, we didn't live together before we got married. I think it can probably kind of lend to never maybe making that further step of commitment, because, you know, you're pretty much kind of doing all of the things as a married couple would do without having to have the commitment aspect of it.
These are my friends, Audrey and Jacob. Audrey is 21 and Jacob is 22. So what do you guys think about divorce? What are your opinions on that?
With divorce, like, I think if it's necessary, go ahead, but I feel like you can also work it out. You can either go to counseling, do different kinds of things. At the same time, I feel like before you get married, you should be all in before you do get married, so you can avoid divorce.
Yeah, I agree with Audrey. I think that, you know, there's some circumstances where it might be necessary, like, you know, abuse and things like that. If that's the case, then I definitely think it's probably needs to happen. There's another reason why, like, I think that, you know, it could be good or bad is for, you know, if you have children. Growing up, I know I've had some friends who've gone through divorce, and I know it's impacted them quite a bit, and so that's kind of a negative aspect of it, having to deal with that. But I guess if it needs to happen, then that's just, you know,
And then we'll just have to work it out from
right,
there.
exactly.
But
What are your thoughts on remarriage?
remarriage, as long as it makes you happy, I guess.
Yeah, same. I mean, I don't think that you should be, you know, like, confined to not being married if you get divorced or whatever in the
Yeah.
first place. Especially, you know, if you find the right person.
Yeah. And if you lose your spouse too, like, if that's what
Right.
makes you happy, like, go for it.
Exactly.
And what do you think about cohabitation, like living together before you're married?
I think it's okay, like, just depending on, like, whatever other terms are. I know my parents, they're like, no. But you know what you're doing, so.
Yeah, I think it's okay as long as everyone else is all right with it, and, you know, that everything is consensual and stuff.
Yeah, and I feel like when you move in together, like, you learn, like, a different aspect of someone. You learn, like,
Right.
more about them and, like, how they act on a day-to-day
Right.
basis.
So it could be, yeah, a better way to get to know that person and make
Yeah.
sure that, you know, it's what you want for the
Yeah.
future.
Because you could move in together and things not work out, and it's like, okay.
All right.
At least you know.
Yeah, exactly. So.